I still remember the chill of that late October morning as though it happened yesterday. My friend Edna, 88 years old at the time, stood by her window, looking out over her tiny front yard. The leaves had turned crisp gold and orange, swirling gently on the breeze, but she barely noticed. Her focus was on something else entirely, the emptiness she felt inside. She had lost her husband 2 years prior, and her kids lived hours away, each wrapped up in their own busy schedules. It seemed no matter how many television shows or books she tried to immerse herself in, the silence in her home echoed louder. She was lonely, and the heartache of it colored every corner of her life. That might sound like a familiar story. Many seniors deal with a profound sense of isolation, whether it's due to children moving away, friends passing on, or simply a reduction in mobility that makes social events hard to attend. It's not just a feeling of, I wish someone were here. Loneliness can chip away at your motivation, your hope, and even your physical health. Left unchecked, it can lead to higher risks of depression, elevated blood pressure, and a general decline in energy. That means lost opportunities to savor life's simple joys. A conversation over morning coffee with a friend, or laughter shared at the dinner table. But there's good news. The same Edna who once felt trapped by solitude now begins each morning with a renewed sense of excitement. She's discovered a path that led her out of her despair and back into meaningful connections with those around her. She'll be the first to tell you there's no magic wand or fancy drug, just a real approach that revolutionized the way she interacts with people. And I want to share that same approach with you today. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 6 core principles of what I call the connection method that banished loneliness after 88. Stick with me, because by the end, you'll understand exactly how to cultivate deeper bonds, even if you feel like your social circle is shrinking or you have limited mobility. The final principle I'll mention is something that almost no one discusses, yet it alone can flip your world upside down in the best possible way. Imagine opening your eyes in the morning feeling hopeful, knowing you have a purpose for the day, people to see, calls to make, and genuine connections waiting for you. You can have that. I've been studying senior well-being for years. In conversations with community organizers, healthcare experts, and older adults themselves, it's become crystal clear. Genuine human connection is a powerful remedy, no matter what age you are. This isn't just my view. Health professionals and aging specialists worldwide now highlight the critical link between meaningful relationships and improved longevity. In fact, doctors in some senior wellness programs have started recommending daily social activities the same way they prescribe medication. Before we dive into these 6 life-changing steps, I'd love for you to take a moment to subscribe and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss any future insights on staying vibrant, independent, and fulfilled in your later years. If you enjoy what you hear, type 1 in the comments. If you think I can improve, type 0, so I'll know how to make better videos for you. Your participation means the world to me. It's all part of building this supportive community together. Let's begin exploring these key principles. Each one stands on its own, but together they form a roadmap out of isolation and into a life marked by the warmth of genuine human bonds. They helped Edna reclaim her spark at 88, and they can help you or someone you love too. Number 1 starts with a jolt to conventional wisdom. Stop believing you need a big social circle to be happy. In reality, it only takes a few deep, meaningful connections to nourish the soul. Everyone says we need dozens of friends, you might be thinking. But the truth is, those who chase quantity often miss out on quality. Carol, 72, spent years trying to fill her days with as many acquaintances as she could. She joined every club and activity possible, from knitting circles to water aerobics, driven by the belief that being surrounded by people would keep loneliness at bay. Yet she often returned home feeling hollow, like she'd simply made small talk all day without forming a real bond. The surprising insight is that a tightly knit circle, maybe just 2 or 3 individuals who truly see and appreciate you, offers more emotional nourishment than an entire room full of casual contacts. Shallow relationships can sometimes make loneliness feel worse because you sense you're not truly known. A smaller group of genuine friends provides consistency, support, and a depth of understanding that's incredibly comforting. If you're wondering how to get started, try a simple exercise. Pick one person you find interesting or whose company you've enjoyed in the past. It could be an old neighbor, a family member, or even a friendly clerk at your local grocery store who always has time for a quick chat. Make a point to invite them for a cup of tea or ask them about their day in greater detail. Focus on getting to know them deeply. Be curious. Ask follow-up questions. Show that you truly care. You'll be surprised how a heartfelt, "How are you really doing?" can spark a meaningful connection. Embracing a smaller circle can lift a huge weight from your shoulders. Instead of feeling obligated to maintain dozens of surface-level ties, you can pour your energy into fostering rich relationships. That sense of being known, truly known, is a powerful shield against the emptiness of loneliness. It replaces the question, "Who can I talk to today?" with the reassuring knowledge that there are a few people who always have your back. Next up, let's talk about a misconception that has kept many seniors isolated: thinking the internet is not for people my age. Even if you believe you're too old for technology, I challenge you to reconsider. I'm not tech savvy. Computers, phones, those are for young folks, right? That's what Harold, 79, told me when we first met. He had a basic flip phone and would only use it for emergencies. But once the pandemic hit and in-person visits became limited, Harold found himself more isolated than ever. A neighbor convinced him to try a simple video calling service so he could see his grandchildren's faces regularly. The result was nothing short of transformative. He went from feeling entirely cut off from the world to connecting with family across states. Then he branched out, discovering online forums for woodworking, his lifelong passion, and even joining a virtual book club. The surprising truth: technology doesn't replace human connection, it enhances it, particularly when distance or mobility issues get in the way of visiting someone in person. The practical step is to seek out a technology mentor, someone, perhaps a relative or a volunteer from a local library, who can show you how to use video calls or social media at a comfortable pace. Set up an account and practice making calls. Check out groups where people around your age share hobbies, concerns, and experiences. Even short, casual interactions can brighten a day. Harold describes the emotional benefit perfectly. "It's like my world widened overnight. I went from seeing the same four walls to seeing my grandkids' artwork, hearing their laughter in real time, and talking to people around the country who share my passion." That sense of inclusion, of truly belonging to communities near and far, is a big step away from loneliness and toward fulfillment. If you're still following along and you've found these first 2 points valuable, I want to hear from you. Type 2 in the comments, because we're just getting started. Your thoughts keep me motivated to share more helpful insights. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It's a great way to stay connected. Let's move on to our third key point, which challenges another widespread belief: that loneliness is simply a normal part of aging and must be endured quietly. A lot of seniors tell me, "I guess this is just how life is once you're past 70. But I say, hold on. That's not true at all. It might sound bold, but accepting loneliness as inevitable is like giving up on the possibility of being happy. Take Lucinda, 85, who spent years telling herself, "I'm too old to make new friends. Why bother?" She felt weighed down by this resignation until one day she stumbled upon a volunteer program at her local hospital. They needed friendly faces to greet visitors and guide them around. Curious, she decided to give it a try. At first, she was nervous. She hadn't done anything like it in years. But very quickly, she realized how fulfilling it was to be needed. She not only made new friends among the staff and volunteers, but she also found a sense of purpose in uplifting worried families who came through the hospital doors. The counterintuitive truth here is that stepping into new spaces, even when it feels scary or uncomfortable, often ignites fresh connections. Volunteering in particular offers a built-in community of people who share a common goal. It provides regular social interaction and a sense of being valued, which can be incredibly powerful in breaking the cycle of loneliness. In Lucinda's case, she started out just one afternoon a week. Then she saw how much joy it brought her and expanded to 2 days, eventually meeting an entirely new set of friends in her 80s. Your simple step could be asking yourself, what's one cause or activity I find meaningful? Maybe it's reading to children at the library, organizing a community garden, or helping out at a local food drive. Seek out volunteer opportunities that match your interests and allow yourself to be a beginner. The emotional payoff is huge. Not only will you form bonds through a shared purpose, but you'll also recognize that you have more to contribute than you ever realized. Confidence and connection often go hand in hand. There's something deeply life-affirming about realizing it's never too late to find new circles, new friends, and new missions. This realization alone can blast through the walls of loneliness that we sometimes build around ourselves in our later years. Moving on to point 4, challenge the misconception that your life story doesn't matter. You'd be amazed how many seniors believe they have nothing of value to share. No wisdom that younger people might want. No interesting narratives that peers might enjoy. In reality, your stories are treasures that can build connections faster than any small talk ever could. Why would anyone care about my life? That's what Samuel, 90, thought. After a lifetime working as a mechanic, he assumed nobody wanted to hear about the vehicles he'd repaired, the cross-country journeys he'd taken in his youth, or the lessons he learned about perseverance during tough economic times. Then one day he was asked to share his experiences with a group of high school students studying local history. He spoke about how he and his buddies traveled Route 66 in a rickety old truck, rationing their savings to see as much of America as they could. The students were spellbound, hanging on every word. Later, some even asked him for life advice and car repair tips. That day, Samuel realized his life story had tremendous value, not just to him, but to others. The surprising insight is that your memories aren't just dusty recollections. They're a bridge between generations. People are hungry for real-life narratives that give them perspective on how things used to be, how challenges were overcome, and how values shift or stay the same over time. Sharing your story can happen in many ways. Writing short memoirs, recording voice notes for grandchildren, or simply telling a new acquaintance about a pivotal moment in your life. Local community centers and senior groups often have storytelling sessions, which can be a fantastic way to bond with people of all ages. Here's a practical step to get started. Each week, jot down a short memory. Anything that stands out, from how you learned to cook your favorite dish to the time you faced a big fear and got through it. Then share that memory with someone. It could be a phone call to a friend or a quick chat with a neighbor. Notice how their eyes light up when they realize they're hearing something authentic and personal. The emotional reward of sharing your life's tapestry is profound. It makes you feel seen, understood, and appreciated. Plus, it encourages listeners to share their own stories in return, creating a genuine connection that dissolves loneliness in an instant. Now that we've covered 4 points, I'd like to do another check-in. If you're still watching and these insights are resonating, please comment 4 below so I know you're here and engaged. If you find this content helpful, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. Your support helps us continue creating resources that can make a difference. Let's move on to number 5. Defy the assumption that new skills are out of reach after a certain age. There's a harmful myth that says you can't teach an old dog new tricks. That belief alone stops so many seniors from stepping outside their comfort zones, thereby restricting potential connections. Consider Evelyn, 78, who for most of her adult life believed she couldn't sing. She loved music but was told in childhood she was tone deaf, and that label stuck. One day, a local choir director offered free introductory lessons to seniors, and a friend dragged Evelyn along. She resisted at first, her old fears rising up, but she gave it a try. Lo and behold, she found not only that she could carry a tune decently well, but also that singing brought her immense joy. She joined the choir, made friends with people she'd never met before, and started performing in community events. In her words, the best part wasn't discovering I could sing, it was discovering how many wonderful people I could meet through a shared passion. The counterintuitive truth? Learning something new in your later years can open surprising pathways to companionship. It might be painting, playing an instrument, trying a new language, or learning a craft you've always admired from afar. Aside from stimulating your brain and keeping you mentally sharp, New pursuits provide a natural forum for meeting like-minded individuals. Taking a beginner's class online or at a community center places you shoulder to shoulder, virtually or physically, with others who are also learning. If you're hesitant, take a baby step. Maybe watch an introductory tutorial on something that's always intrigued you, say drawing or gardening. Then practice for 15 minutes a day. If it sparks joy, find a group or class. The emotional benefit here is twofold. You'll rediscover the excitement of mastering a fresh skill, and you'll align yourself with people who share that interest. That overlap of mutual passion is a surefire recipe for meaningful bonds. There's a sense of camaraderie that forms when we learn together, cheer each other on, and overcome hurdles side by side. Finally, let's talk about point 6. It's something you rarely hear discussed, but it could be the secret to forming deep relationships fast: the power of vulnerability. Conventional wisdom often tells seniors to stay strong and keep personal struggles to themselves. But this can actually fuel isolation. When we put up walls, we prevent genuine connection. Jane, 83, illustrates this perfectly. She lost her husband of 50 years and felt pressure to appear brave for her children and grandchildren. Whenever someone asked how she was doing, she'd smile politely and say, "I'm fine." But she wasn't fine. Her nights were filled with tears, her days with a dull emptiness. It wasn't until she confided in a close friend that she discovered something remarkable. Her friend admitted she, too, had been silently grieving the loss of her own spouse and was grateful someone else understood. In that moment of shared vulnerability, a deeper friendship was born. From there, they began a weekly coffee date dedicated to honest conversations. They laughed, cried, and supported each other through moments both tough and wonderful. The surprising truth is that honesty and openness about your feelings, especially the hard ones, can be the quickest path to forming authentic bonds. Of course, it doesn't mean spilling your entire life story to strangers. It means gradually letting trusted individuals see the real you. If you're feeling lonely, say so. If you're missing someone deeply, share it. Being open about your inner world invites others to open up too. A simple, practical step to start embracing vulnerability is to choose one person in your life you trust, maybe a friend, family member, or counselor, and share something you've been holding back. Begin with small, manageable disclosures and see how they respond. Chances are you'll find empathy and understanding, not judgment. The emotional payoff is relief, closeness, and the wonderful realization that you're truly not alone. Since we've now gone through all 6 points, let's do our final check-in. Type 6 in the comments if you're still here, taking in these insights about defeating loneliness and building connections. Also, if you haven't yet done so, subscribe and turn on notifications to stay updated. Sharing this video with someone else who might need it is another great way to help more seniors rediscover hope and companionship. Now let's take a moment to reflect on these ideas as a whole. We've talked about focusing on quality friendships rather than quantity, embracing technology to connect across distances, refusing to accept loneliness as inevitable, sharing your life stories, tackling new skills, and finally harnessing the power of vulnerability. Picture all these tools working together like a beautiful, interconnected web of support. Instead of drifting through days feeling disconnected, you can weave a social fabric that keeps you feeling purposeful, valued, and loved. The time to begin is now, because loneliness doesn't wait, and neither should you. If you start putting just one of these ideas into action today, you might find a small shift in the way you feel tomorrow. For instance, text someone you've lost touch with or ask a neighbor if they'd like to join you for a walk. It might feel a little uncomfortable at first, but that's often how new things feel. Don't let that discourage you. The most rewarding changes usually happen outside our comfort zones. Which of the 6 principles spoke to you the most? Maybe you realize you've been underestimating the power of technology, or perhaps you're excited to pursue a volunteer role that gives you a fresh sense of purpose. Take a second to imagine how these ideas could reshape your typical day. Instead of watching the clock, waiting for time to pass, you could be eagerly anticipating a video call with an old friend or prepping for the next session of your brand new hobby group. Visualize yourself genuinely smiling and laughing with someone who appreciates the unique stories and wisdom only you can offer. I'd love to hear your personal plan too. Drop a comment below telling me the one step you're going to take this week to foster a new or existing connection. Whether it's a heartfelt conversation, a new class you'll try, or a volunteer sign-up, share your intention. Your words might inspire someone else who's on the fence about taking that first step. Reading your experiences and aspirations motivates me and countless others to keep championing the cause of deeper, more fulfilling relationships at every age. If you found this content helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. By doing so, you help more seniors learn practical ways to combat loneliness and build strong emotional bonds. Let's create a ripple effect of hope, where each person who discovers these principles introduces them to someone else who needs a helping hand. I hope you carry the core message from today's discussion long after this video ends. There is always room for connection, for closeness, and for the kind of friendship that warms your heart. Don't let the world convince you that loneliness is your destiny. You have far more power than you realize. And if Edna, at 88, can rediscover that spark, waking up each morning with anticipation of calling a dear friend, finishing a puzzle with a neighbor, or volunteering for a local event, then so can you. Each day offers a new possibility to grow closer to another human being. Thank you for spending your precious time with me today. Remember, you deserve companionship, laughter, and respect, no matter your age. And I, for one, believe wholeheartedly in your ability to find and nurture those connections. Keep the conversation going in the comments, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. You're stronger, braver, and more indispensable to this world than you might ever know.